Live, that means the NFL is speaking. Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Caleb Williams, Dan Campbell, Aaron Rodgers. You will hear from all of them in the next hour. We're so glad to be with you. We got Hawk here, we got Field here, and Dan. By the way, this is our regular Wednesday crew during the season. So if you don't like us, sorry, because we're going to be with you.
Why not Wednesday? That works.
Yeah. Why not Wednesday? That's coming
at some point, right?
Later.
Yeah, I mean, when I was 7 years old, but that counts technically, right?
We also have Adam Schefter with us this hour, and that is where we begin. You guys can continue your conversation. Just do it quietly. Adam, some top stories beginning with San Francisco. What's the update on Brock Purdy?
Laura, it looks like Brock Purdy is not practicing today due to the left shoulder and toe injury that he's dealing with ahead of Sunday's game in New Orleans against the Saints. If Brock Purdy cannot start, of course, that would mean that Mac Jones would step in and replace him as the 49ers would play a second straight game on the road after winning last week in Seattle. We'll see if Purdy returns to practice on Thursday, but it looks like no practice today for Brock Purdy. Meanwhile, Jadeveon Clowney, the free agent pass rusher, is visiting the Dallas Cowboys today. We'll see if the Cowboys get a deal done with him. They're looking for some pass rush help. Clowney clearly could provide it, and after trading away Micah Parsons, Clowney could step in there and try to help replace him. Meanwhile, in Kansas City, Xavier Worthy, who suffered a shoulder injury in the opening game against the Los Angeles Chargers, not practicing today due to that left shoulder injury. The Chiefs head coach Andy Reid has said that Worthy is day to day ahead of Sunday's Super Bowl rematch against the Eagles, but it certainly sounds like he's dealing with some pain in that dislocated shoulder, and we'll see if he's able to make it back this week in time for that big matchup on Sunday.
All right, great stuff, Adam. He's with us throughout the show. More updates from Adam coming your way. And mentioning that Super Bowl rematch, Chiefs, Eagles, Patrick Mahomes talked about watching that tape back today.
It sucks that you lose the game, but in order to progress and to be better next time, you have to watch it and learn from it. And so I don't know the exact amount of times, but you watch it, and then you watch it in the offseason with the team and with the coaches, and then you watch it obviously this week as well. And so they had a great game plan. They played hard and did a great job of disrupting my timing. And so when the opportunities are there, I think that's something I did miss early in the game, is there was opportunities to make plays, and you got to make those plays, because if you don't, they're not going to allow those opportunities again.
Let's go out to Kansas City, where our Chiefs reporter Nate Taylor is standing by. Nate was at practice earlier, so got to see a firsthand view of what's going on. What can you tell us about the Chiefs preparing for the Eagles, Nate?
Yes, Laura, the Chiefs are wanting revenge on Sunday after losing to the Eagles in the Super Bowl. And as of right now, their preparation largely includes Hollywood Brown, their second-year receiver that's been with the team. And because of the injury to Xavier Worthy, Patrick Mahomes is going to have to rely quite a bit on Tyquan Thornton and Hollywood Brown at his receiver position to see if he can get plays down the field. Now, Hollywood Brown did have 99 yards on 10 receptions in Friday's game against the Chargers. And as of right now, Patrick Mahomes understands that not only does he need to be protected, but he needs to take risks. He needs to throw the ball down the field early to get the Chiefs some momentum, maybe perhaps a boost compared to their flat start in Sao Paulo. But right now, the Chiefs are preparing as if maybe Xavier Worthy is not going to be on the field, which means largely the load will go to Hollywood Brown, Tyquan Thornton, and of course, Travis Kelce.
Yeah, interesting, and something to keep an eye on, especially an offense that we're looking for a little bit more explosiveness out of. Thanks so much to Nate Taylor joining us here. Now, this will be the fifth head-to-head matchup between Patrick Mahomes and Jalen Hurts, including the playoffs. In the first two, the Chiefs' offense starred, averaging 40 points a game in a pair of wins. The last two have not gone as well, as we know, with KC averaging fewer than 20 points a game and 100 yards less of offense in a pair of losses. Dan, are you concerned about the Chiefs' offense now?
Oh, yeah. Unless this offense changes schematically, it cannot get back to the Super Bowl. It just doesn't do anything that the good offenses in this league do right now. If we took Patrick out and Patrick made 3 or 4 plays and throws that you're like, oh my goodness, but that's it right now. And we've harped on this for years. One, they don't go underneath center and throw the football down the field enough. And when they do try and do it, They're unsuccessful doing it. Now, Andy Reid, one of the greatest coaches of all time. Matt Nagy, a very bright offensive mind. If there's two coaches who can fix it, it's them.
Yep.
And so I'm not telling everybody right now that this is the concern. I'm telling everybody in Kansas City and your fans, if this doesn't change, you will look back in November and December and be like, why aren't we winning? And I'll tell you, this will be the reason why, okay? Like, this is the foreshadowing. If this doesn't change, if you don't go downfield more, if you don't get under center more, if you don't build play action more, if when you do, you don't hit those shots downfield, this will be the reason why. And we can come back to this episode of NFL Live and realize what the problem was.
Well, the game plan on Friday night was Patrick Mahomes be Superman and the rest of you are along for the ride, right? Because I don't know what the offensive identity was leaving that game down in Brazil. And you're talking about trying to take shots down the field more. Worth noting, it's a tiny sample size, but Patrick Mahomes on Friday night, 6.6 yards per attempt. He's never had a season where he averaged that number or below. Even if the scheme changes, do they have the guys right now? Do they have the horses to do it? Like, I'm just telling you, do you think a defensive coordinator is sitting there saying, you know what? We got to account for that Tyquan Thornton down the field because he's fast. He is fast. That's incredibly accurate. He was a 4.28 guy in the combine coming out of Baylor. That being said, I just don't know if there's a single player on this offense until Rashee Rice returns or Xavier Worthy returns that a defensive coordinator says, we build the game plan around him. Patrick Mahomes excluded, obviously. Is there a single skill guy that you feel that way about?
Remember, Rashee Rice, week 6, so you got a long time for then.
It's going to be a little bit of time, and that's the concerning part for me, right? When Xavier Worthy comes back, you're hoping that he can fill that number one receiver void until Rice is there. With no Xavier Worthy, if there's no Xavier Worthy, Hollywood Brown, does he have juice down the field? He does, but for your number one guy, everything needs to be on the table. You got to be able to push down the field. You also got to be able to win on slants, out routes, some of these more mundane or boring routes that Patrick Mahomes can rely on and say, hey, this guy's one-on-one, I'm going to you. I don't see that right now with the way the roster's constructed, but I will say, big picture, when Rice comes back and Xavier Worthy is healthy and Hollywood Brown and Juju and Thornton, like, you have a receiving core, not even including Travis Kelce, that is more than enough for this offense to be special.
I agree with that. And it's 1 week. But when you watch the pass concepts, and I understand they're not their maybe marquee guys, guys' spacing's poor. Sometimes I'm sitting there going, what's Patrick supposed to do with the football? And so, can we throw the graphics of some of the numbers up? Like, you go back over the last couple seasons. This is a team that's in the conversation with, like, the Cleveland Browns when it comes to throwing the football downfield.
I don't know what that's supposed to mean, but go ahead.
And the success of doing it.
It's Hawk's first show back in studio. Well, he forgot shots already.
And just like the success of doing it. So something's got to change. Or they're going to be sitting there. The Super Bowl is completely out of question.
Eagles this week, Ravens week 4, by the way.
That's the scary part about the Chiefs is because, like, they have struggled at the wide receiver position for the past few seasons. But this year was like the year where it was supposed to be hopeful, right?
Man, Dan, that's crazy. I mean, I don't
This
think
is what
people
Patrick
realize.
Mahomes, he was factually accurate on the Browns part.
Yeah,
in his
Browns,
defense.
I see what you mean now.
Giants,
In his defense,
and the Chiefs are right there just a
So
touch
they're in
ahead
a
of
world
them.
where they don't do it enough, and then when they have done it recently, it's been bad.
Yeah, again, that's worst completion percentage with throws 25-plus air yards. All right, one thing to keep in mind, too, is just the AFC in general, their competition has gotten so good. We saw the Ravens and the Bills on an incredible classic Sunday night. New on NFL Live, Josh Allen speaking less than an hour ago about his receivers.
Very confident. I know sometimes at the goal line, defenses bring in some bigger personnel, and they gap down quite well. So we'll look at it, we'll learn from it, and we'll figure it out. Yeah, it means a lot. Anytime that we can get the ball into our playmakers' hands, especially down the field, it's good things for us. So again, we got to keep working hard, keep finding ways to get the ball to them, and start faster.
Yeah, the Bills got 20 receptions for 240 yards from their wide receivers in the win Sunday night over the Ravens. Those were both the most any team got from their wideouts in Week 1, and quite a contrast from last season when the Bills ranked 22nd in the league in receiving yards from receivers. So many times in this offseason, even we're like, who's Josh Allen going to throw the ball to? Hawk, what did you see specifically from Keon Coleman on Sunday?
Yeah, I've seen an evolution. I've seen a maturation in Keon Coleman, right? He talked in the offseason about the things he needed to get better at, and you saw it come forward in in week 1 of the season, specifically how he was off script, right? When they played the Ravens a year ago, I was watching Keon Coleman, and he was a rookie, but it was like he didn't know what to do once Josh Allen got out of the pocket. That is such a big part of Josh Allen's game, is extending plays. And when you watch Keon Coleman, not just the beginning part of the route, you can see from the start to finish these elongated plays, he is going as hard as he can. He has a plan. It's detailed in the way that he's uncovering to give Josh Allen a surface. That's special for a young wide receiver.
Yeah, I mean, I remember talking about that last year of, okay, when is he going to take that jump? So I think you saw some of the more refined route running. There were some of those timing throws that mattered. I never correlated the off-script stuff that we saw being that big of a deal, but watching those highlights, I'm like, oh, yeah, man, that's a huge part of their offense and a huge part of his evolution.
Yeah, big change.
It seems like Buffalo, too, has accepted that, like, I think coaching at its core is, like, identifying what a player does well and highlighting those things, avoiding what he does not do at a high level. Not a super speedy guy, not a great separator, but maybe some of the off-script instincts are going to take a big leap. And also, the catch radius is huge. He's a former basketball player at Michigan State. The kid in the red zone should be a real threat for Josh Allen.
3 Bills wide receivers, by the way, had 60 yards in week 1. That only happened once last season for reference. All right, we're just getting started on NFL Live. Glad you're with us today. After a heartbreaking week 1 loss, the Ravens are stuck nursing some pain, but how will they bounce back this week? You don't want to miss what Lamar Jackson had to say. That's coming your way. Speaking of bouncing back, the Bears took a tough loss on Monday Night Football. So how can they get back on track? Field tells us what Caleb Williams must do to avoid an 0-2 start. That's next Wednesday on NFL Live. We're flying around the whole league today, hearing from a lot of quarterbacks too.
Wednesday.
Why is it always all about the quarterbacks?
It always has a lot of money.
And speaking for the first time since the heartbreaking loss to the Bills, here's what he had to say on the 4th and 3 play where the Ravens punted.
I was actually cramping the drive before that. The turnover happened. But I went to the sideline. If anybody paid attention, I was drinking pickle juice on the sideline already. I'm like, Sarah, I need to get hydrated. Like, I'm cramping. I'm starting to feel cramps. And then we went back out there, and obviously, it happened. 4th and 3 happened. But if I wasn't cramping, we definitely would have went for it. I believe.
Interesting. Hawk, anything Lamar needs to do differently this week against the Browns?
I guess drink more pickle juice. I don't know. I felt like Lamar played a pretty good game against the Buffalo Bills. It was unfortunate that had the fumble. The defense didn't play great, but for him, he was very efficient. I've trusted in all the decisions he made watching the film back. So in week 2, I guess you can ask him to put more on his shoulders. But in the long run, is that really the best thing? So I would say, Lamar, keep doing what you're doing, and it will click eventually.
More new on. Yeah, exactly. There you go. More new on NFL Live. Raheem Morris on the Falcons' sluggish offense ahead of their Sunday night matchup against the Vikings.
We want to go out there and be able to establish our run game the way we want to do it. I don't want to take any credit away from Tampa was able to do. They did an excellent job. They presented some great challenges for us, but we got to go out and find ways to run the football, whether that's coaching better, whether that's playing better, whatever the case may be. We are very capable of doing it on all sides of the ball, coaching, playing, whatever the case may be. So.
Dan, what does the Falcons offense need to improve this week?
One, you got to get Bijan the ball more. Okay, 18 touches for that player, not good enough. 2.5 yards a carry, not good enough. So that's got to develop. 2, this team offensively wants to get the ball to the perimeter. If you're going to do that, you better block better on the perimeter. That's a huge part. 3, Michael Penix has got to be more than a timing thrower. He did what he was asked to do in their offense, but he's not just a throw the 8-yard out type of quarterback. They've got to build things in and give him the opportunity to launch the ball downfield to some of their playmakers.
The Bears and Lions, both 0-1, face each other this week. Here's Dan Campbell on bouncing back.
You know what fuels my tank is losing, all right? That fuels me because I don't like losing. Our players don't like it. And you go back to work, man, and you get back to the basics of what you do, man, and you hit it head on. Nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. We're all accountable. And if we want to win, we got to do the little things right, prepare that way. And then we got to play that way. So that's what gets me going.
Bill, one of these teams is going to be 0-2. Let's go to the Bears side. What needs to change for Caleb Williams?
Laura, I think he just needs to take a big, deep breath. He starts the game 10 for 10. He goes on to go 11 for 25 in his final 25 throws. I'm seeing Caleb miss throws that I would say he is more than capable of making. I feel like the moment got a little bit of the best of Caleb once Brian Flores started to throw a few curveballs because they were not trying to pressure Caleb with 5 rushers early in Monday Night Football. It felt like the game sped up for Caleb, finding a way to kind of cool the Jets a little bit and play within himself. I think will go a long way. I thought there was a lot of progress in week 1, even if the team collapsed down the stretch.
Yeah, it felt like a lot to build on for sure. All right, we have a great story to bring you now, and a special one for us here on NFL Live. September is Pediatric Cancer Awareness Month, and you may recall in January 2023, ESPN, the Make-A-Wish Foundation, and the NFL presented Super Bowl tickets to a young football fan with cancer, Booth Garnett. Here's a little reminder of that. We've got Booth Garnett, who has been enjoying some time on campus with us as part of the Make-A-Wish program. Wait. I'm getting an update in my ear. The odds have actually changed a little bit here. Booth, I want you to Guess who has a 100% chance to go to the Super Bowl? It's you. You're going to the Super Bowl. Really? Yeah, you're going, man. Thank you.
I'm going to the Super Bowl, man.
Be at the Super Bowl. So you want to come on NFL Live there too?
Yeah, come on,
you okay with us? Oh my goodness. Okay, today we are glad and thrilled to announce that Booth is cancer-free. Here he is ringing the bell on March 24th at Memorial Sloan Kettering. He actually started playing tackle football in August with the Bank Raiders. Booth and his family paired with the V Foundation and decided to give back. Booth ran a lemonade stand while his dad competed in an Ironman event. They raised together over $35,000 for pediatric cancer research for the V Foundation.
What a bunch of champions.
I have so many children over the Texans Sunday, and with the addition of Adams, things opened up for Puka Nacua, as you might expect. Matthew Stafford had a field day to Nacua, going 10 for 11 for 130 yards targeting him. It was the 5th career 10-catch, 100-yard game for Nacua. And with that, it's time for Whiteout Wednesday. Dan and Hawk, take us inside what worked for this Rams offense.
As fun a tape to watch from week 1 as anybody. And I love the fact that Sean McVay takes maybe lesser threats to open up their greater threats. First clip, 12 personnel. We have 2 tight ends on the field. That's 1 back, 2 tight ends. Now what that does, you match with 3 linebackers. Advantage if I'm a pass game, me. Number 1 is going to be that the tight end starts inside, and that puts Puka Nacua outside. That's the corner. So initially, that corner is going to be matched up against Puka Nacua. But what Sean McVay does is motions that tight end out. Once that tight end goes out, so does that corner. Now advantage offense. I have Puka Nacua more than likely matched up in man or in the area of a linebacker. You're going to be a seam throw from the top of the numbers, a beautiful completion, quarterback to wide receiver.
And I love it because Sean McVay is incredible at leveraging the slot with all of his wideouts. So the seam route for this slot, why it's the seam route? The top of the numbers to the 2 yards inside of the field. The reason why that's called the seam from Kyle Shanahan is that if that quarterback is disciplined enough to hold this free safety with his eye, which you watch Matt Stafford, he's one of the best in the league at doing so, it is impossible for this safety to get there in enough time to blow up your wideout.
And you're talking about Stafford holding the eyes. This is a beautiful angle. You'll see Matthew catch it. He's going to stare to move that safety and then watch the timing of the throw. You want this seam ball to Hawks Point, top of the numbers, about 18 to 22 yards. Stafford's already throwing the football. Puka's not even looking for the football, but that trust and understanding of landmarks and locations is a huge part of that offense. Beautiful job of getting the matchup on the linebacker. Okay, number 1. Number 2, you got the 2 tight ends once again. Here's those tight ends. They're stacked at the tackles. Okay, now you have Puka Nacua early on matched up against Stingley. The best corner of one of in football playing that wide receiver. There comes that motion again. Tight end goes from inside out. What happens? They all kick. Now Stingley's going to play the tight end. I've wasted the best corner in football. He no longer matters. Then I'm going to get Puka Nacua matched up on a secondary or safety player, not the corner. Me, advantage offense, quarterback underneath center with the play action, which is what I love.
And what I love is that when it gets into trips, right now, he is going to do a great job of showing all go. All go special out of a 3x1 is seam, go, and a cross field from number 3, right? Now, if you watch this whole defense, safety included, is reacting to go to the seam. The nickel corner is also reacting to the seam, but watch what Puka does here. He does an incredible job of showing seam to the very last minute, and the timing of this throw between Stafford and Puka makes it impossible to react.
And that's a great job of play design by Sean McVay of getting the matchup advantage of taking Stingley off of Puka, covering the tight end with him, and then there's that snap off. Here you got that triple set again. Quarterback underneath the center. This is a huge part of their offense. I love the fact that here comes this inside-out motion with Tutu Atwell. You get that speed pushing vertical down the field, and everybody once again is going to think what?
All go special again. So if you pause it right here again, it's going to look like crossfield, seam, go. Sean McVay is incredible at that, and with the motion outside, to your point, Dan, it makes a defense think.
I also think it being Tutu Atwell matters because now this secondary and this safety player, on top of thinking all go special, that's their speed guy. He's like, I gotta get depth because of the vertical push.
It's why they're so good, because they want everything to look the same.
Look at this.
At the same time, they're thinking all go special, and then at the last minute, it's all gonna break.
Because initially we would sit here and say, this is bad spacing for a pass game,
right,
unless you have the details of separation at the break point.
Now watch what happens. Smith goes to the corner, dig inside. Look at this throw from Stafford to Smith. Big time play, because what you did to the defense was you showed them something different. You motioned out. Now they're thinking, how do we react to this motion and this formation change? And at the same time, it makes them rely on their instincts, which is to say, oh, this is all go. This is all go.
Look,
last minute
how
it changes.
Deep they get before that route break off. I mean, that is such good detailed coaching. It's design, it's the details, the timing of the throw, and that is something to pay attention to for this offense. That 12 personnel grouping with Stafford underneath and how they use those tight ends to create the matchup advantages for their two big-time receivers.
Good offense is not a coincidence.
Dude, that was
good to talk ball.
Come on, man.
Let's get to it.
Come
I
on.
love it, guys. This is going to sound weird. That almost reminded me of synchronized swimming. Like, they're so in sync.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Impressive. All right, let's get back to Adam now for some top stories. And you have some news for some wideouts as well. Let's talk about Green Bay.
Well, Laura, the Packers officially have extended their wide receiver Christian Watson, who's still rehabbing from a torn ACL and expected back later this season, to a one-year, $13.25 million extension. That means he doesn't have to worry about anything other than rehabbing his knee, coming back later this season. Green Bay did right by him, and he takes the security of being back in Green Bay. Very rarely do you see teams give extensions to player rehabbing torn ACLs, but that's what the Packers did in this particular case. Meanwhile, the Falcons are expecting to have Drake London on Sunday night against the Minnesota Vikings. The Falcons head coach, Raheem Morris, said today that he expects that London will be out there. When the Falcons practiced, London was out there, as was Darnell Mooney, who missed last week's opener. That's a good sign for the Falcons. And just a short time ago, the 49ers head coach Kyle Shanahan said that Brock Purdy could miss, quote unquote, multiple weeks with his left shoulder and toe injury, and that he's now a long shot to play Sunday at New Orleans against the Saints. And that means we are looking at the real possibility that Mac Jones, who signed with San Francisco during the offseason, is going to wind up making his first start with the 49ers, and we're finally going to get to see what it's like for Mac Jones to operate a Kyle Shanahan-led offense.
Yeah, a reminder that, of course, they ended up getting Trey Lance when they made all those trades to get the third pick instead of Mac Jones, but the rumors were they would get Mac Jones. Anyway, that aside, your reaction, Phil, to seeing that maybe Brock Purdy's out for a while.
Okay, two things can be true at once. I'm not sure there's an offense that's better equipped to bring the second quarterback in and keep things afloat like San Francisco is. A reminder that Nick Mullins has the second most passing yards in an NFL quarterback's first 16 starts in league history, only behind Patrick Mahomes. That, of course, was operating under Kyle Shanahan. At the same time, it's a big blow. Listen, Brock Purdy now makes $55 million per season for a reason. He played at a high level this past weekend. There were the 2 interceptions. They only hung 17 on Seattle. But I thought he was a ceiling raiser for this team, where I think there was a time where the perception of a lot of the quarterbacks in San Francisco was a little bit of a floor raiser within this offense. I am also completely fascinated by what Mac Jones looks like in this offense, Lord, because felt like more of the rumors back in the day in the 2021 NFL draft, right? It certainly felt like the player that Kyle Shanahan wanted to pull the trigger on at number 3 overall was Mac Jones. We'll see how it looks this Sunday.
The great opportunity for Mac Jones, huge. The offense is going to have to run the football better. They were bad this weekend against Seattle's front. We've talked about that. I feel better if George Kittle was going to be there. He won't be. Pressures, can you play on Brock Purdy's timing with Ricky Pearsall was so good. Can Mac replicate that? You still have Juszczyk and you still have CMC. So they can still run a bunch of their 21 personnel stuff and spread the field, which is kind of what Mac has the opportunity, or what he's best at. Can he operate in the chaos the same way that Brock Purdy is capable of, because that's what he did so great Sunday. And that's why an interception happened. You're like, he's trying to carry the team right now. If there's a coach, if there's a system, if there's a supporting cast that can help, it's San Francisco's.
They got to prevent themselves from being one-dimensional. To your point, they got to run the football better, but they're in a situation now with Mac Jones. It's always been, can he push the ball down the field? And if you're a defense going against Mac Jones in a first-time start with Kyle Shanahan, are we just going to say, hey, we're going to take away the run and force him to throw it? And if Mac Jones can't do that, it's going to get late early.
Yeah, we talked about this yesterday, too. 31 touches in week 1 for Christian McCaffrey. So, no Brock Purdy, no George Kittle, no Brandon Ayuk. Is Jennings going to play? Like, maybe you have to replicate that, because I think this is going to be a short passing game, a heavy screen game, and try to let the other people win the game and not force Mac to lose it.
Reminder that Brandon Ayuk is scheduled to return somewhere around week 6 or 7 if we're being optimistic. That was something that we don't really...
6, 7, yes! Yes, a lot of 6, 7 talk.
My kid said that's not cool anymore.
It's not cool anymore.
No one knows what it means.
Because it tracks now. I didn't believe it.
You said it before the show that Dan has turned into a middle-aged man, and that's now just been proven correct.
Yep.
All right,
it's the first day in months.
I love it. Hawk is back.
Bring it out of her, man.
After the plays from rookies that you need to see. Field, let's kick this off with #1 overall pick, Cam Ward.
Yeah, the Cam Ward stat line, Laura, not going to blow you away. 12 for 28, under 130 passing yards. That being said, I saw a lot more good than bad from Cam. I absolutely loved the pre-snap command that he was showing. He was also throwing some frozen ropes. Maybe to the point that his receivers weren't expecting them to be that hard, because there were drops all over the tape. You just saw one from Alec Manor, also from Calvin Ridley. For a young quarterback, I don't care if it's drops, pass protection, play calling, you name it. You have to help out your #1 pick a whole lot more than Tennessee did, but I certainly believe this player has an immensely bright future in the NFL. 5 picks after Cam Ward went was Ashton Jensen, of course, to the Las Vegas Raiders. 19 carries for 38 yards with a long of just 9 yards against the New England Patriots, Laura. Here's the problem. Not a lot of space besides this touchdown run he had right here. Get this. He had a total of 38 rushing yards. He had 44 rushing yards after contact, Laura. This offensive line's got to block it up a whole lot better. They were playing with the lead. The Patriots were selling out for the run. That being said, if the offensive line for the Raiders does not give Ashton Jensen more space, it's going to feel like the college football playoff game last year where Penn State overwhelmed Boise State and he was kept in check after video game numbers. Finally, my favorite rookie performance from the entire weekend, Will Johnson, 47th overall pick out of Michigan, went about, 35 picks too late in my estimation because of the knee concern. Huge crunching hit. But how about this? He was targeted 7 times. He allowed just 4 catches for 32 yards. This play was actually called off because of a penalty that was way far away from the play, but the natural ball skills from Will Johnson, he was excellent. I hope this guy goes on to become an all-pro, because you and I were there in the green room in Green Bay, April 25th this past year. He was the last player remaining. That's always a difficult spot to be in. This kid is way better than the 47th overall pick, and the early returns are very, very good.
Yeah, it felt like he didn't necessarily need a chip on his shoulder because he's already so talented, and then that probably gave him a little chip.
Ooh, maybe a gigantic
play out on the field, exactly. All right, let's go to Houston, where they might be asking somebody to fix their offense, okay? The Texans were just 2 for 9 on 3rd downs in their loss to the Rams. That was the 2nd worst 3rd down percentage in week 1, ahead of only the Titans. Part of the issue, the Texans averaged more than 10 yards to go on their 3rd down attempts. Texans coach D'Amico Ryans talked about who needs to improve.
It's never an entire group. That's the one thing about it. So there are individuals that have their moments throughout the week, and the lollygagging, it's a term everybody want to use now. It's for me, it's just our tempo, right, in and out of the huddle, right? We got to get in and out of the huddle quicker so we can get to the line of scrimmage, so we can operate and make sure we got checks and things we have to make at the line of scrimmage. Well, to make those checks in a proper manner, right, we got to get out with some urgency.
Okay, so D'Amico referencing urgency and other things, but Phil, what do you think the Texans need to fix?
I think it's fair to say the biggest question about this roster coming into the season was the offensive line, right? They had some major shakeups, including trading away their best offensive lineman, Laremy Tunsil, this offseason. What happened early on in this game? The Texans shuffled the personnel along their offensive line, and not just because of injury. Ariante Ursary, their 2nd-round pick that they took out of Minnesota, is a lifelong left tackle. You got to play him there, I think. And by the way, I believe you got to let guys kind of like get forged in the fire. You got to play him. You got to keep them on the field. You got to let them see some of the bad, because eventually the good will follow the bad. The second thing that came to mind for me is I don't think there's any question that the best offensive playmaker they have is Nico Collins by a mile. Yep. Maybe some of these rookies will get there in time. Nico Collins can't have 3 catches in a game. You got to do something, whatever it is, to get him comfortable and get him the football more. Find ways, because he's way too talented to have 3 catches for 22 yards.
I completely agree. I mean, the offense needs to run through Nico Collins. I think the Rams defense did a really good job of taking him away and making sure he couldn't get behind him. And I think that also goes to the Texans play calling to say, okay, you got to understand, everyone knows Nico Collins is the guy, right? So you need to make sure you have options outside of Nico to get him going and the rest of your offense. Some of the concepts that they were running seemed predictable, a little vanilla, and you can even see from, yes, there was a protection issue, as there has been for CJ. He was a little timid, and at times it didn't feel like he was confident that there were options for him down the field in the timing that he needed. So that's something that they got to get fixed and addressed from an offensive play calling position, as well as just understanding that the Hutchinsons and all these other options need to play off of what Nico is or what they're taking away from the outside.
What are the Texans good at offensively? It's one game, but last year and this year, what are they good at?
Last year they were good at throwing the football down the field to Nico Collins.
I don't understand why teams are making this stuff so hard. I go back 2 years ago to 23, and the backbone of this offense was the quarterback under center, play action, pass, big in-breaking routes. Yeah. Where are they?
Why would it change? They did make change at offensive coordinator with Slowick, but why wouldn't you
I don't know.
do that?
My notes of the game, they're dealing with pressure again. It feels very stagnant. It feels very stale. They're struggling to get chunks. How come they can't help with protection? It's the same stuff that was often the case last year, and I understand D'Amico saying, like, we got to get to the line of scrimmage in time.
It's fair to note that that's amongst the best defensive fronts in the NFL. I think part of the counterpunch to that is if you know that your quarterback's going to be under siege, what's the plan to get the ball get the ball quickly? On the other side of this game, we saw the Rams do exactly that. There's a reason why Puka Nacua went off for 130 yards.
And like, my thing is this, like, for everyone who's like, well, the offensive line, you're trying to protect against them, so you're in the gun all the time. There's also different ways to help the offensive line from underneath the center. There's ways that you could put bodies next to tackles. There's ways that you can chip. Like, helping a questionable offensive line doesn't just always mean put your quarterback in the shotgun at 5 yards and throw the ball quickly. The defense is smart too.
I think it is like, to your point, development is in the reps, right? Like the same way you talk about guys need to play. As a play caller, he's got to go in there and get his teeth kicked in a little bit and say, okay, well, this is how they're going to play against Nico Collins. And again, we got to get to the play action pass, but you got to be able to run the football in order for that to even be a threat to
make it look like running the football.
They did a great job of saying, okay, we are taking Nico Collins away. Let me see what you have, and they didn't have an answer for that.
Watching week 1 for the Houstons this year felt like watching week 1 from the Bengals last year, where everything was shotgun, catch, and throw. It's not going to work in 2025 in the NFL. It just won't.
All right, we'll see if they adjust. You see them on Monday Night Football. That's coming your way. We have a doubleheader. Houston against the Buccaneers, week 2 of Monday Night Football.
You'll be there.
Yeah, I'll be there, and then Dan will be at the other game. That special start time, 7 p.m. Eastern on ESPN, ABC, ESPN Deportes. Chargers Raiders, that's Dan's game on ESPN and ESPN Deportes. Both available on the all-new ESPN app. Coverage kicks off at 3 Eastern with NFL Live. Scott Van Pelt and Monday Night Countdown crew come your way at 5. Still ahead, the Steelers offense showed some flashes in week 1, but Hawk warned there are some red flags in Pittsburgh that he can't ignore. We'll explain those next. ESPN Bet Fancy.
To right about the 28-yard line. Here's 1st and 10. And they're just going to run it here up the middle. And that one shut down pretty quickly. He'll get back to the line of scrimmage. Nothing more. So we've reached halftime here in Arrowhead with the Chiefs on top. As we'll get you down to Orlando now. That's where the coach is, Jonathan Coachman, and our EA Sports Halftime Report.
Okay, Michael, thanks very much. And with that, we welcome you all into our EA Sports studios. This is the Halftime Report. We were treated to an excellent first half from the gunslinger, Patrick Mahomes. He came out of the gate smoking hot with 2 first-quarter touchdown passes to help steer his guys towards this halftime lead. The highlights are fairly one-sided to this point. It's a 2-touchdown difference here at the break, but I wouldn't call this one over just yet. I think there could still be some fireworks yet to come.
All right, Coach, second half, drawing near. Glad to have you back with us here on EA Sports. Pretty interesting first half. We'll see if any strategy changes for the next 30 minutes or more as this second half gets underway. He'll work his way across the 25-yard line. The 49ers offense ready to get going again. They'll have it first in this third quarter. They'll begin with 1st and 10. Throwing is Purdy. That's taken in by Jennings. And he'll be tackled up around the 45-yard line. That's a gain of 19 and a very quick first down.
Whatever they've talked about in the locker room at the halftime break seems to have worked. They've come out with a new established energy. You could see it when they took the field. Now this offense seems to be building on it because with that chunk play, just a little bit of rhythm that they can build off of. They got a long way to go to get back into this game, but so far off to a good start.
They run straight ahead with McCaffrey. And he'll get 2 on this one before being taken down. They run once more with McCaffrey. And now for a second time, he loses the football. And this is taken in by the defense.
So the biggest thing that stands out here, Mike, is the fact that the defense just continues to pursue the ball. Every defense focuses on get as many hats to the ball carrier as possible because the guy in front of you, he misses the tackle or he falls down. You have to be there to make up for it, and the pursuit to the ball is not only how they're able to get him down, it's ultimately how they're able to take the ball away.
The Chiefs offense ready for their first possession. And remember now, all turnovers must be reviewed by replay. So this one is going to need a little closer look. At issue was the knee or any other body part except the hand down before the ball comes loose. And are the visuals convincing enough to overturn the call on the field? So that one overturned. They say the runner was down, and that will not be a fumble. And he's going to have a 49ers first down. They're able to convert on 3rd and short, picking up 4.
I like the element of surprise here, Mike. It seemed like everyone was so keyed elsewhere on the play that nobody even gave a thought to him potentially getting the run. Didn't take him long to see he was going to be able to clearly pick up that first down.
So they come to the line for first down and 10. Throwing from the gun is Purdy. Now a shot downfield for Samuel. And he's got another one. Deebo Samuel. Touchdown, 49ers. He has come alive after the break. His 3rd touchdown of the second half. And that is the hat trick. What a game. His 3rd touchdown reception of this one.
And nothing they've done to slow him down has worked, Mike. This defense, they're throwing multiple guys at him. They're playing man, they're playing zone. It doesn't matter. This guy is having his way, and he's having a day.
Extra point up and good from Moody. And the 49ers are back to within 7. It's 28-21. So, following that touchdown, Moody is back out to kick it off. Hardman now to return it. Now an opening has the 30. Good return here. Brings it up to the 33-yard line.
It's easy to make your quarterback look good when you can just get open as easily as he has in this game so far. I mean, he had the big first half, remember. But here in the second half, he just continues to add to these numbers here in the third quarter.
They put Kelsey in motion. Here's Patrick. He'll throw it on first down. Open man downfield. It's Rice. And he's down inside the 40-yard line.
Automatic first down.
Here's Edwards-Helaire. And he'll get about 5. Off the play fake, here's Mahomes. That's over the middle and intercepted. That's the linebacker, Fred Warner.
You know, Mike, I like the mindset of this offensive coordinator. He's saying, listen, I'm not looking to preserve this lead. I'm looking to extend my lead. Now, that aggressive play calling in this case led to the turnover. Now your defense has to take the field. Can they bail you out and keep this lead unchanged prior to their next possession?
Brock Purdy and the NFC champs back out to begin this next drive. And we show you some of the highlights, and there have been plenty to choose from. 3 touchdown passes.